Hey, welcome in Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
All right.
We're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas.
Hello, I'm Billy Coppin, with Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
Hey, it's Kay Boning with Tomorrow's Provost Montessori Schools.
Good morning, Huntsville.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm Karen.
I'm Toy. And I'm Denise.
And from all of us at Walker County Federal Credit Union,
Good morning, Huntsville.
There you go. That's a quick.
I like that.
Oh, man, I'm out of breath after that. You ever get out of breath pretty easy, Jason? Or
Yeah, more and more frequently than I like to admit.
Yeah, but you're moving around a lot, though. Do you get time to exercise, like take some walks or lift weights or anything?
I used to, and I do have a little gym that we bought years ago that in the house there that I use, but I need to get back on it. I used to do it really regularly, and it does help getting up in the morning and doing just a little bit, even like 20 minutes I would do, and then take a shower and then come to work. But recently it's been so much going on that I've just neglect, but maybe first of the year, resolutions.
It's weird. You think like maybe as a parent, I'm not thinking for you, but I'm just thinking as a parent, with children, you think, hey, the kids are starting to grow up. They're starting to move on, and now I've got more time to do things, but that's not the case, is it? It's probably less time.
Never enough time. You have to make time to do stuff. You really do. You have to make time. Otherwise, life gets away from you. You have to prioritize, but I try to I think it's important. Like when Dr. Jones came on months ago, talking about mind, body, and spirit. Trying to focus on each one of those elements of your life. I think is so important to have wholeness. You know what I'm saying? And taking care of your body, I think, is important.
You know what's neat about what you just said, mind, body, and spirit, and the word wholeness? I'm doing classes online at ORU. Did you know that's the core of their whole program?
Oh, really? Awesome.
That is
awesome.
And when I started online, we had to sign like a creed or an agreement. And I love that about any type of Christian university that's legitimate. They're going to ask you to sign kind of a code, right? Or something that you go with. I'm sure you had to do one.
Right, absolutely.
Everyone has to do one in those schools. But that is their thing. They're big on mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
And they talk about being whole in the Lord. And what does that mean? It means, Jesus Christ was a whole person. He was complete. He was God, but he was also human. And of course, we're never going to be we're never going to be
right,
Christ,
right.
but we strive to be like Christ,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And that's their whole persona there, and they're really big on health. Mm-hmm. That is a big, huge deal with them. In fact, I was like worried because my BMI went up a notch during the last 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I hope I don't fail this health class. And Chad, here at FBC went there, and he said, oh, get ready as you continue on, man. They're going to have like a metrics day to where you really got to like do all this running and push-ups. And yeah, I did the first couple of weeks, the health class, one of them was like, you do these, I want to just, I guess, spill the beans here. I did one push-up. And if you haven't done them in forever.
I know it. It really does. It's not a thing that you normally do,
How is it when you're a child? I take Braylon to the monkey bars, right? Mm-hmm. And she's not big enough yet, but she can hold herself up, and man, I got up there and tried to I can't even hold myself up on those things anymore. How is it when you're a child you can just go real fast on that stuff?
I know. And ever look at a child and they out of excitement, they just run. You know what I'm saying? Like you see kids and they're just so excited, they just run here and they're running there and they're running everywhere. I mean, when's the last time you just ran out of excitement? When you weren't running from something.
Sitting here thinking, man, maybe it was one of my buddy who's kind of on that fun end of the spectrum of churches. They got a running church, you know what I mean? You ever been to one of those? You went with a friend, growing up, the running church. Yeah. There's some excitement in some of those.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't worry, I won't do that on Sunday, Jason.
Oh, maybe we now need to. Every now and then, wake us up.
It's funny you were talking about that, about running out of excitement.
Yeah.
And you're right. When is the last time you've ever ran out of excitement? I think the last time that I ever, when you feel the excitement in you and you're like, oh, yeah. The last time that I did that, probably, not that I haven't been excited about anything else, but the last time that I physically showed like this huge excitement, I'll distinctively remember I was driving through the neighborhood here in Huntsville a few years ago, and I got a call from Joshua Hartman. And Joshua Hartman is the Learfield property manager for North Dakota State University. Mm-hmm. And I got a call from him, and he said, are you ready to become the next voice of the Bison?
Oh, wow.
And, I pulled over, and I was like, People probably drove by, and they're like, what's wrong with this dude?
No, that's awesome.
And then who would know 8 months later I'd be right back in that same street?
No, let me – it's all good. It's all good. It's coming full circle.
Oh, it is.
But those times you live for, those times of excitement where I love that story because – you can think back to those times in life where it was just like, you were overwhelmed like a child, that excitement, that amazement, that just joy of running, just overwhelms you. But what I'm bringing all the way back around is that's what's neat about the story of the resurrection in the Bible. It says they ran to the tomb. They ran to the tomb, and then John outran the other one, and then they were running out of excitement because they had come to that point where they had felt like they had lost everything because it was they saw Jesus die on the cross. Peter had denied him 3 times, and they had to be, all of these things seem to be going up. There's this, in the Gospels, there's this building up, this anticipation of something great about to happen, right? Mm-hmm. And they believe he's coming into Jerusalem to take over, And so there's this excitement building. There's this excitement of building. Then, boom, the cross. And all of that hope is, in their minds at that point, is dashed. That meant death. There was nothing stronger in their mind than death, even though they saw him resurrect Lazarus from the dead. That was it. It was over. And they take him down, they lay him in a borrowed tomb, and then when they hear the word, something's happened, and they can't wait to get there. And then when they see it, they can't wait to run back and tell the others, and they're just running for joy. And I think a lot of times we as Christians, we miss out on the most exciting things that God is doing, that excitement of just joy in our lives. And sometimes we think of church, well, I don't want to go to church. It's boring. Church should be the most exciting place on the that we can go.
I'm going to tell you, if you think it's boring, come here on Sunday. It ain't boring.
It shouldn't be boring because it should be exciting. It should be a place of joy. It should be a place where we want to run to. with all of our struggles and all of our weaknesses and all of our pain, we run to the sanctuary, the place where we find refuge. And but that I always think about that when I read that at Easter story is the running that's present in the Gospels, the running that just out of joy, like a child. And sometimes I think we need to recapture that.
Yeah, well, that's great. So Sunday, Jason, you always challenge us. I got a challenge for you. Challenge the congregation to start running from their cars to the door.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you.
That'd be awesome.
Running is something that I see these people run these marathons, and they're we have several in our church that do that. Linda's daughter, she loves running marathons, and I just think to myself, how in the world you find, I know there's excitement in the journey, and there's got to be excitement in completion and finishing something you set out to do, you train for and you do, but man, running is just not one of those things that brings me a lot of joy. My knees always hurt when I run, but I did a couple of years ago. One of my daughters, she was running cross country, and I was going to run with her. Now, she could outrun me because I'd run and get tired and walk, but we'd run to the mailbox and we'd run back. And it was about a mile down there. And but we had a good time doing that. That was a great memory.
I have like visions of you, Jason, for some reason when you said that, and she's outrunning you.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I see her running, and there's dust all flying up, and then you're back here like this, like. But you know what though? I play basketball, Jason. Let me just say this: this guy don't stop. He actually goes pretty good, and it was motivation for me because your entire family, all of y'all, were out there hooping.
Well, I want to tell you, my boys, they're in from college, and they asked me the other day. He says, "What do y'all still do the pickup basketball?"
I need to get that going
I
again.
know we need to get going over the break. We could get up here and lower both of our BMIs.
Yeah, I will say this though: from January last year to January this year, I have not gained nor lost any weight.
That's good.
I guess that's a good thing, right? I mean, I'll be just full transparency. I'm 244. That's not healthy. I need to be about 180.
But you're what, 6'3"?
6'2" and a half, yeah. But I really do need to be about 180, 185. That's my target.
Well, I don't know, man. That's pretty thin. I'm like 235.
Yeah, well,
so
244, brother. And I feel every bit of it.
But I'm 6'2". You're taller than me.
When I had pancreatitis several years ago, did I ever tell you this story?
No.
I had pancreatitis, and it started out, I thought it was just some boudin balls that we had ate in Louisiana. My buddy Nathan, you've met Nathan before. He comes in from Georgetown to help me broadcast, and I so cherish those moments. He and I, we've been buddies since we were in elementary school, and I kind of took Nathan under my wing. I treat him like a brother, and he's just a really good guy in my life. And he got married several years ago. He's giving me a hard time. He goes, "I got married before you." And I said, "Yeah, thanks, Nathan," rubbing in my face. But he's a good dude, and he comes all the way from Georgetown to help me broadcast. Even now that he's married, he said, his wife is okay with him leaving for the weekend, so he'll come help me. And when I was at Sam Houston, I very distinctly asked some of the folks over there, I said, "Hey, I've got a buddy who helps me. It's really good for him too, because he needs to be out and doing things. And so for him, he needs that companionship, and I need it too. Everybody needs to have somebody in their life. But it was kind of I wouldn't say it would have been a deal breaker, but it was a pretty strict one with me. I said, I've got this buddy who always helps me, and I'd really appreciate if he could keep helping me. They said, yeah, absolutely. And they were like, as long as we don't have to pay him. I was like, no, don't worry, I'll take care of him. And so I'd give him gas money, and I'd pay him a little bit to help me. And now, of course, I pay him for sure to help me because he helps me with the high school stuff. But we had went and drove to I think it was Natchitoches. We were playing when I was broadcast for Sam Houston. It was basketball, and we drove all the way down there. And on the way back, and that's a quick trip. You drive in, especially for him, Georgetown. Now he stayed at the house that night and then left in the morning. But drove all the way there, did the game, came back, and as we were coming back, we saw some Cajun place, and he's like, let's go there and get some boudin balls. I was like, all right. So went over there, and I never drink energy drinks. Never. I just, I say now never. I used to drink them every once in a while. Now I never do. And this is probably why I haven't had one since this day. But I got the boudin balls, and then right down the street, I was like, I'm pretty tired. Let's stop. I need to get some sort of energy drink because we were driving. I think that night we were driving all the way back to Georgetown. That's a good 7-8 hour drive.
Yeah.
And so we pulled over, and it was like a Red Bull something. I don't remember what it was. And man, about 4 hours later, we're still 3 or 4 hours from Georgetown. Something hit me in the gut. And it's like one of those, oh, no. One of those type of things. You ever had those? I mean, don't go into details, but I'm sure you've had it.
Yes, I have.
That's another fun story.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell that story. You go ahead and finish yours.
I want to deviate real quick. One day I'm traveling with Sam Houston basketball. The coach at the time, won't say his name, but I love the guy. That's why I'm not saying his name. I still talk to him once in a while. He tells the bus driver, pull the bus over, pull the bus over, pull the bus over, now. He runs it, and the bus never stops at a small convenience store. We always stop at like a Love's or a big one, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's just say the bus pulled over in a little tiny Shell gas station. Coach didn't come out for like 30 minutes. He comes back, and he's like, sorry, guys. A little deviation of my story. Well, something starts kicking me in the gut, but it didn't feel like that one, like where it just it didn't feel right. And so I got home, and I thought maybe it was, the energy drink, the boudin ball, something was going on. Woke up the next morning, and the pain was there, and it was even worse. And it was like all in my gut. The only way I can describe it, Jason, is I felt full, like I had eaten a ton of food, and I really hadn't. And as the day went on, that next day, it just progressively got worse. And then the next morning, it was still hurting. And Bridget's like, you need to call the doctor. I didn't like going to the doctor because I didn't have health insurance.
Right.
And it's scary. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's sad that we live in a society to where, I guess everything you put it into perspective, but we do live in a society where if you don't have health care, good luck going to the doctor because the fear of how much you're going to have to pay to me was more than the pain I was having. But I finally said, I got to go. And so I went, and he ran all this blood work, and he couldn't say what it was. And he said, I'm going to order a lipase test. I said, what's a lipase? He goes, that's for your pancreas. I said, well, that's weird. I never even knew what that was. The only thing I knew about pancreas is pancreatic cancer. And we all know, Dr. Jones's story. And I've known my great uncle passed away from pancreatic cancer. And so I started getting scared, and I wasn't strong I was a believer, but I wasn't in a strong walk with the Lord like I am now. And so this fear and anxiety came over me. Anyways, the results come back and my lipase was high. Now, normally when it's really high, you go to the hospital. And you're in the hospital for a week until they get it down, and then they run all the tests to figure out what's going on. Mine was just elevated high. It wasn't bad enough to go to the hospital. But he said, you have got to cut all food immediately. I was like, what are you talking about, man? He said, you got to cut everything. He said, the only thing you can have are clear liquids. I said, well, what about like protein? He goes, well, you're lucky. They make a clear protein shake. That thing was nasty. For the next month and a half, that's all I had was water and these clear protein shakes.
Wow.
But, brother, the weight started pouring off of me.
Oh, wow.
At the time, I was still like 241, 240. I'll never forget Coach Hooten with Sam Houston basketball noticed me a couple of weeks later. And I still had that fullness. That was the weird thing. Even when I drink water, my stomach and all that area would just start feeling full again. And Coach Hooten saw me, and he goes, man, are you all right? I said, yeah, why? He goes, you look like you've lost some weight, like a lot. And I said, yeah, actually I have. And in those 2 weeks, I'd already dropped like 15 pounds.
Golly.
And a lot of it's water weight. Well, by the time my stomach got better, I got all the way down to 202. And, man, I was feeling good. And then, my appetite came back, and then, unfortunately, I started eating the bad stuff again. The deal is normally pancreas issues in that realm of pancreatitis are from large alcohol consumption or something hereditary. Now, I wasn't getting plastered drinking a ton of alcohol. I will be honest, I had a beer once in a while then, but it was not like I was going out getting hammered on stuff that I shouldn't have been. So we knew it wasn't that. It was just something in my body that, and now I look back on it, and I think maybe it was God telling me like, hey, you need to take better care of yourself. And now here's a wake-up call this morning as I'm telling myself I need to start. And that's one reason I got involved in ORU, because I knew that they were very heavy about the health part of it. And it is making me mindful now, although I am making some bad decisions. had a McRib, but I am being more mindful, and it's baby steps for me. And now I'm getting up and I'm walking a mile. And now the other day, I hit 14 minutes on a mile jogging. I never could do that a few weeks ago. So it's slowly starting to work.
You run in the neighborhood?
Yeah, so I just around the corner. It only takes me. I usually try to spend 15 to 20 minutes. I get up pretty early, and I'll be honest. The last 2 mornings it was so cold. I was like, I didn't get much, but I still got my steps in. So, anyways, the moral of the story is take care of you. If you feel something in your body, make sure that you answer what that is. Pray about it and take care of yourself. And exercise.
That's right. I think that, like we've said from the beginning, it's not just your body, it's not just your spirit, it's not just your mind. It's all of those combined to make sure you're taking time for each of those things.
That's good. Well, Jason, we are going to take a quick break. I do want to say a special shout-out this morning. Our friend Jamie Saucier is joining us. And, Jamie, we are praying for Nina this morning. I know that she is in surgery right now. And so we have many of you. This platform has become like a family.
Right.
It really has. We have so many folks that join and chat every morning, and Jamie's one of those guys, and many of them are. Carolyn Gibson always chimes in. There's probably 15 or 20 people that consistently comment every morning. All of you that watch this show, we consider you part of the family, and so this morning we have a feeling, a mutual feeling that obviously we want the best for Nina, and so I just ask you today and this morning, just take some time to pray for her and just pray for God's provision and that the doctors do what they need to do. And Jamie, we are thinking of you. We love you, brother. And we said a prayer yesterday on the show for Nina, and we know that procedure is going to go well and that she's going to be okay. So we're just thankful that the Lord is working and giving those doctors the wisdom that they need during this time. So because Jamie said good morning from HCA in Conroe. So we love you, brother. And by the way, I don't want to give anything away to the children, but there's a really good Santa Claus in that man.
That's right.
He's got a deep connection to the North Pole,
That's
Jason.
Right. That's right. Definitely.
Well, hey, before we take that break, though, we do want to ask you this morning, do us a huge favor and like and share this broadcast. Friends, when you do that, it does make a huge difference. We're noticing the numbers going up. In fact, just a couple episodes on Monday, we had over 1,200 viewers, or 1,200 views by the end of the day. So when you do that, it absolutely helps. Maybe you've been watching this show for a long time and you've never commented. Don't worry, we're not going to make you feel uncomfortable or anything like that, but just say hello and let us know that you're out there this morning. There's a lot of great new audience that's joining us. We are here this morning on this Thankful Thursday. Jason Bay, the pastor here at First Baptist. I'm Rob Hipp as always, and we are here, episode number 412. Big shout out Paul Oley of the Gallery. I told Paul I'm going to continue to promote him through the year. He helped us get started. So for all of your custom framing, photography, and more, go see my good friend Paul Oley. Let's support local business this holiday season. Also, a big shout out to our good friend Elliot Herzik from Elliot's Jewelers. He's online at elliotsjewelers.com for all of your jewelry needs. Go see Elliot. Set up that appointment online. And, of course, we could not be here on this Thursday without our good friends here at First and Jason Bay. Always a pleasure to have you, man.
It's good to be here. It really is, even though it's early in the morning.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You come in, and not necessarily you, but, I mean, just in general, anybody, it's like, man, I'd like to get a few more minutes of sleep. But then for me, like, once I do this show, and I'm that way. But then once I do this show and get done, I'm like, man, that was fun. It kind of energizes you.
Definitely. Absolutely.
And I need that after last night. I know you said you were having kind of a hard time sleeping last night. And, well, Caden decided he was going to have a little run and fun last night. That was talking about your joy and running.
He was running.
I was alluding to this, and I know my brain just the neural network disconnected on me. But he was running and playing, and we have a fireplace, and that brick it's not your standard like block brick. It's just rocks that I say brick, but it's really rocks. And it's it's a good, what would you say, 1.5 tall maybe, and kind of curved. But there's some jagged edges on the corner of those rocks or on the side. And Bridget and I just knew that one day he was going to slip and fall. If it wasn't Braylon, it was going to be him. He runs very close to that. And last night he was doing it. We said, Caden, get away from that. Quit running by it. Well, I went to fill up the bathtub, and all of a sudden you hear this pop, and I run out there, and Bridget's like, oh, my goodness. And Caden is standing up, but I knew what happened. And the poor little fella is just like this. He's not even crying.
Scary.
And he's shaking. And then all of a sudden his face turns like reddish blue, and it's You know, all the lights in the neighborhood turn on. And then I look, and the poor little feller, just the red streak runs down him. And he had put a little spot in his head. He had fallen right on that rock of that fireplace.
That's scary.
Yeah, and it is as a parent, you know. Now, you walked in on me the one day when poor little guy, I mean, a couple weeks ago, he fell and busted his nose and it was bleeding. I think you walked in on that. I'm freaking out because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, oh, Molly, I got to take him to the ER because it's the first time I've seen blood come out of my kid like that.
Yeah.
And Molly, here's sweet little Molly who lies about her age. She's 82 or 83, but she's really like 60. She lies about it. Molly, you do lie about it. And she's like, Rob, just calm down. He's going to be okay. Look, he's all right. He's smiling. And I'm like, no, Molly, I got to get him to the ER. And then you walk in what did I walk into over here this morning? So this time I was the one that was calm. Bridget was a little, nervous, which is good because she's mama. But he's okay this morning, and he did have a Titleist had called me, wanted their golf ball back this morning because the poor little fella had a little golf ball there on his head.
Man.
So. Well, hey, we are going to take a break. Let's do it, Jason. We'll come back, and we'll have a little news you can use.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll hop into that. It'll be Jason's segment when we come back. Do want to remind you, our friends at Cafe Texan have been so generous to us that we have been giving away Cafe Texan gift cards all week long. Also, Lone Star Lights has been generous to us as well. You guys, I think, are going to make it out there.
Yeah, Molly was kind enough to get us tickets to head out there for Christmas. She bought our family Christmas. That's what she gave us. So we're looking forward. I'm thinking, she told me that they have fireworks out there on certain days. Yeah. And I think we're going to try to head out there Sunday evening to go out there and take all the kids and my mom, and I've never been out there. Have you been out there?
Yeah, we went earlier this year. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's pretty, I know, and they're, if it's just a few people, it's not bad, but with you guys, I know, we were
thankful for Molly. She's so sweet. She didn't have to do that, but her, she's so giving.
It's great, and it is a really good opportunity, and I wanted to thank Cherie Brabbits and our friends at Carolina Creek. They have been just generous to this community, and I do want to say this, too. I know I keep saying we're going to take a break. I do want to keep Cherie's daughter in our prayers. I know that she has been going through some surgeries, and just the other day I was talking to Cherie, and she had to run down. They had to do an emergency surgery on her daughter. So, Cherie, we are praying for you as well, and just love you and your family. And I've never met your daughter, but, from just knowing her through you, we love her, too, and we're just praying for the best for her. She's been dealing with some issues for quite some time, and we're just praying and believing for healing. And I've always said this, and this doesn't relate, to this is in general. A lot of times in life, Jason, we pray for healing. And I think sometimes, I know I've done this. I've prayed for healing for a friend, and a friend didn't make it. And it's easy to get discouraged and say, my prayers weren't answered. But someone changed my life, and I wish, it's a moment where I wish that I could have remembered who it was that told me this. But the ultimate healing comes in heaven.
Absolutely.
And it changed, again, it's just like you the other day talking about dreams and what are the dreams that God has for you? That changed my way of thinking. This was one of those changed my way of thinking too. And it really helped, with my dad when he passed because, he had battled some addictions and things in life that were just tough on him, PTSD things related to Vietnam. And I prayed for healing. I prayed that my dad would be able to conquer that. And at times he had some success, but ultimately that healing came in heaven now. And so I want to encourage you this morning, if you're praying, there's nothing wrong with believing for healing.
That's right.
and praying for healing. The Bible's very clear on it. But also understand that for all of us, the ultimate healing will come that joyful day for those that are believers and that have a relationship with the Lord, that we will be ultimately healed of all when we get to heaven.
That's right. It's a great day.
So, well, hey, let's take a break. Jason, what should I do? Should I give away, I'm going to leave it up to you, $50 gift card to Cafe Texan or Lone Star Light tickets? What do you think?
Well, seeing how it's coming close to Christmas, and I know a lot of people need to have a break from all the shopping, I say let's give away the Lone Star Lights.
Let's do it today. Lone Star Lights tickets today. And I'll tell you what, we are getting close to the holidays. I've got 4 of them today that I'm going to give away. 4 Lone Star Lights at Carolina Creek tickets. Jason has been very clear on making sure that I say Lone Star Lights at Carolina Creek. It's been a running joke now. So 4 tickets today, and if you get these and you want to go, that's great. If you can't go, you just let us know. If you only need 2, let us know. Maybe take the other 2 and bless another family with them. But 4 of them, and all you got to do today is text in the keyword. We've had it all week. It is
gift.
Gift. The ultimate gift is the gift that God gave us in Jesus Christ. Gift is the keyword today and this week, though. Text that in on the Zero Degree Creations phone and text line at 936-339-0139. Again, gift, your chance to win 4 Lone Star Lights tickets. Again, gift on the Zero Degree Creations phone and text line 936-339-0139. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. It's news you can absolutely use. Coming up next with none other than the Jason Bay. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. It's your show. This is Good Morning Huntsville on Thankful Thursday, brought to you by First Baptist. Stay with us, friends.
Hey, friends. Rob Hipp, Media and Community Outreach Minister here at First Baptist Church, Huntsville. Let me ask you, when's the last time you felt real hope? Maybe it's been a while since you've been to church, or maybe you've never felt connected to a church at all. Well, friends, that's okay. Here at First Baptist, we're a harbor of hope, and we welcome everyone just as they are. We have programs throughout the week for all ages to come together, ask questions, grow in faith, and find the hope that only Jesus Christ can bring. Whether you're looking for a fresh start or a community to call home, we'd love for you to join us. Come experience something real. For more information, visit fbchuntsville.org. First Baptist Church Huntsville, a harbor of hope.
In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted, family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram, or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at guardiandefensellc.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
Imagine a professional office space that elevates your business image without the corporate price tag. Huntsville Executive Office Suites are coming soon to Lake Road. Enjoy high-speed internet, a fully equipped kitchen, and 24/7 secure access. Take advantage of our live answering service, advertising on our outdoor video sign, and a convenient location just a quarter mile from SHSU. Lease terms start at 6 months. Call Raven Property Management at 936-225-4378. Huntsville Executive Office Suites. Grow your business without outgrowing your budget.
Hey, I'm Denise Olivas, Business Account Specialist at Walker County Federal Credit Union. One of the best things I hear from our members is how they love being treated like they're important, like their family. Sure, our members love things like low rates on loans too, but combine that with the friendliest and most helpful service in town, and you've got Walker County Federal, taking care of our members. It's what we do. We are Walker County Federal Credit Union, member NCUA.
This is KHSP-LP, Huntsville, Texas, the spirit of Huntsville.
This is Kay Boning with Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, and you're listening to Spirit Radio.
Support for SpiritRadio.fm comes from loyal listeners just like you. Want to help spread the good news across Huntsville and beyond? Underwriting opportunities are available for loyal listeners, businesses, and nonprofits. Visit SpiritRadio.fm and tap Donate today.
All right, Huntsville, welcome back as we continue on this morning. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Good Morning Huntsville. Jason and I were having a little discussion there during the break just about the power of AI technology, and had a church member come in, and he had written some music a long time ago, back in the 50 years ago, had the recording. He brought in an 8-track that was still wrapped in cellophane. It was the neatest thing ever, but he had those recordings digitally, and so I was dumping them into AI, showing him how he could generate lyrics with his voice and the style of music. And it, of course, it blew his mind, but me, someone that does it all the time, it blew my mind because I've never done it with someone that I knew.
That's cool.
So,
and that brings me to one of the articles that I saved for today, because, they say that we look back in the history and there's like inventions that really define a generation, right? Like our generation, you could say it really was the internet. When the internet came along, it defined the generation. They say that the technology that's going to define this generation now is the AI technology.
It's got to be, yeah.
And but the Wall Street Journal has an article from this week, December 11th, and it's on AI, and it says the next leap forward for AI is this thing they're working on called long thinking. Now, this type of technology is different than the way that AI is working currently now. For instance, if you ask Alexa or Siri or any kind of AI thing, it immediately responds with something. The long-range process of AI thinking is different. It's going to be thinking of problems and answers to problems that could get better over time. Like, for instance, the answers that they submit to the questions that you may ask it now, it would take time to think about that over time, to analyze that with other data that's out there over the internet to come up with better answers for it. So they're calling this long thinking. There's all kind of information about it, but he in this article, it divides it up in like system 1 thinking and system 2. He says that system 1 operates automatically and quickly with little or no effort and no sense of voluntary control. Thinking fast. System 2 allocates attention to to the mental activities that demand it over a long period of time, including complex computations. So the way your mind thinks is how they're trying to get AI to think over long-term thinking over problems. So I thought that was interesting.
When it's doing this long thinking and you have a speaker hooked up to it, do you think it's going,
get back to me. But it goes to think that it goes to show you that what they're coming up with this AI is technology that over time is going to get better on its own.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, because it's computing to think longer term to get better at the way it answers things. So not just the programmers are programming this information into it, they're teaching it to learn information, which, like you said, is scary.
I'm in a radio group online, and it's like radio broadcasters, whatever, and I've never been a typical traditional radio broadcaster, to be honest. I mean, this isn't radio. This is a podcast, and I've always felt like, if I build something on my own, I've gained some knowledge from people, but a lot of it's just things that I've learned, and I kind of like that in a way because it brings a whole new unique way of doing things. If you're taught specifically, now if you're a doctor, you better be taught how to operate on somebody, but when it comes to technology, I think a lot of times one of the best ways to learn is to learn on your own, gather. And I don't mean like don't gather knowledge from others, but do the research on your own. Go research videos, go talk to other people, and develop your own methods for the way to do things. And so when I had my IT company, we were different in the way that we approached computer services because we were a very customer service focused business. And we didn't think like typical computer people. If somebody came in and said, how much space do I have left on my hard drive? A typical IT person would say, well, you got 500 gigabytes. People don't know what that means. So I taught our guys, let's talk about it in the sense of photos.
Right. How many pictures?
So how many pictures? So we'd say, well, you got enough room to store maybe 20,000 pictures on you. Then all of a sudden people's minds are like, oh, I can comprehend that.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same way in the radio business. And you're mentioning all these things, and this ties into the AI talk. I'm in this group on Facebook, and this guy posts, an old radio guy that's been around, and I'm not going to knock the dude. I mean, I think I don't know him, honestly. He's just in the group. I'm sure he's a great guy, a lot of knowledge, a pioneer probably in the industry early on, and this, in whatever realm he's in. But he said that AI is destroying the industry, and it needs to be stopped. And I'm sitting here thinking, and I replied to him. He was upset because the journalistic approach to it. He's also a journalist, and he said AI is completely ruining the journalism industry. I kind of argued with him, even though I never argue on social. But I said, to be honest, AI is one of the greatest tools that technology has ever been invented, and just like anything, it can be used for good or bad. I said I use the AI technology to help me formulate my ideas better. And to help me articulate what I'm trying to say in a better way. It's made me a better person in comprehension. It's made me a better writer. And I told him, I said, I don't just use it to spit out the articles. I use it to help me formulate how I'm going to say something. And his reply was like, that's great, Rob. You do you while the rest of us will do us. And I'm sitting there thinking it's that kind of thinking of why industries don't move forward and why we're seeing this mass exodus of radio stations all across the U.S. because it's the old way of thinking about things. You have to embrace the new technology. You have to – doesn't mean you've got to implement it everywhere, but you definitely have to embrace it, and you can't ignore it. You can't. You have to know that it's just like Blockbuster and Netflix and all them. If Blockbuster would have been more proactive, they'd still be in business. But they had an old way of thinking. Netflix overtook them. Netflix had an older way of thinking at the time, but they changed it. What'd they do? They started online streaming instead of staying focused on the DVDs.
Look at that.
They became the pioneer.
Unbelievable.
So anyways, that was my thought on that.
But what you said makes perfect sense because think about, when you were saying that, I was thinking about like during our time, the big invention was the internet, right? And what did people say about the internet?
It's horrible.
Oh, it's terrible. It's going to, because at the beginning of the internet, what was the main thing that was being, or not the main thing, but one of the main things that was being pushed out there? Pornography, lots of negative things. You heard all these negative stories, but it all comes back to how you use it. If you're using the AI technology to make yourself a better writer, to make yourself a better student, to help you, then yeah, it's going to benefit you. If you're using it to cheat, to take shortcuts, it's going to show itself. It really is, and all you're hurting is yourself.
That's right.
So that's the first article. Second article on the sports page, I wanted to bring this up to you. When you think about the University of North Carolina, the baby blue North Carolina, what comes to your mind?
Tar Heel.
Yeah, what sport? What
basketball? Jordan.
Basketball. Michael Jordan. There you go. That's
where you were going.
Everybody thinks of when they think of the University of North Carolina. They think of the basketball program.
I think they think of Mac Brown too, don't they? Wasn't he there? Didn't he just get fired?
He just got fired. This is what I'm bringing up.
Okay.
They hired today. They're hiring Bill Belichick to be the next
luck with that
head coach of UNC. I couldn't believe it when I the deal is valued at $50 million over 5 years, and I mean I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if that's going to be a great hire or a terrible hire, considering he's coming from the Patriots, professional football, going into college. He spent his whole career in the NFL. He's leaving. He's following Mac Brown, which is the winningest coach in North Carolina's history. And North Carolina doesn't really have a great history of, like we were talking about, of having a great football program. What do you think?
Well, I kind of think about this. I think, this definitely isn't, not knocking Josh McCown. He's not a Mac Brown caliber guy, but Josh McCown went here to Sam Houston, and he is now a quarterbacks coach for the Minnesota Vikings. He also played at SMU in college. But there's been chatter. I don't know any of this. Just from what I've seen, Sam Houston's looking for a coach. There's been chatter that maybe Josh McCown would be a great – so here would be a guy coming from the professional ranks down to the –
but he spent time in college, though.
Yeah, so he
knows both sides.
Yeah, so I think in that situation that would be a good move. Bill Belichick, legendary coach. But here's the thing, too. You can have a legendary coach, but you also got to have legendary players around you.
That's what, yeah.
The coach can build and develop those players. I think Bill Belichick did that with Tom Brady, obviously, with the Patriots. But I go back and look at this. Here's Greg Popovich, and I love the Spurs, and Pop hasn't been out there. He had a stroke and expected to make a full recovery. But he had a ton of success. But look who he had. He had David Robinson, and then Tim Duncan, then Tony Parker, then Manu Ginobili. Then you get Robert Horry to come in and hit some big shot Rob in some games for him.
Right.
And then what happens? All those guys move on, and the Spurs hadn't made the playoffs in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's not to knock that Coach Pop isn't a great coach, but it has to be that combination of a great coach surrounded by great talent.
Yeah.
Great coaches, and here's where I'm going with this, great coaches can bring in great talent. Young people know of the success of Bill Belichick as a great coach. They may be more apt now to go to UNC because they want to play for a Super Bowl winning coach who coached Tom Brady. Could be a great move.
That's what I was thinking. On the positive side, I can see, how a lot of players, like you said, it's a players' league. I mean, you need good coaches, but you've got to have the players. And so I could see how he could bring in some NFL talent, NFL caliber talent there. If they're willing, you have to also throw in the NIL stuff nowadays, because if UNC is willing to put up the money not only for the coach but for the players nowadays.
Yeah, the coaches need the NIL money too.
That's what I'm saying.
I go back, one final discussion on this. I go back and look at a coach like Casey Keeler, and we were so blessed to have him here for over a decade at Sam Houston. Look at what he did. He built a culture, brought in great talent of guys that wanted to play for his program. He leaves. There's 18 guys in the portal now from Sam Houston.
Wow.
18 players in the portal.
Golly.
It's going to be a tough rebuild for Sam Houston. I think they can do it, but you got to have the right person in there to do it. I think in this case that Josh McCown would be a great person because he's familiar with the university. He's coached at the professional level in the NFL. That could be a guy that could bring in some of that great talent. But you have got to bring in somebody. And I'm so thankful that I'm not in a Bobby Williams position because he's made some great decisions.
Right.
He's been here a long time. He's done great work. But those are really tough decisions that he's got to make that I couldn't make. He's the guy that can make those decisions, and I know that he'll make the right one.
Right. Next, on the NBC News just reported that Elon Musk is the first person to surpass $400 billion net worth. That's a lot of money.
Good night.
Now, the question I have for you, and I didn't want to go into this to Elon Musk and all that he's done, but I know like around Georgetown and Bastrop area, it's just unbelievable what's coming there. But what I wanted to ask you on this is think about $400 billion. You know, I mean, let's just take a quarter of that, $100 billion. If you had all the money money wasn't an object, what is one thing that you would do or buy if money wasn't an object? What is something that you would do or buy right now if money wasn't even an issue?
Me?
Yeah.
It's funny. I was thinking about this. It's so funny how we sit here, and I was thinking about this last night. I really was. I was thinking about this last night. If I won the lottery, what would I do?
Right. You got to play it first.
I would. I think right off the bat, you got, which hasn't been favorable for me in the past. I have no thing in the future. I will be honest. I won't go into this discussion, but when it hits like the super whatever, and I'm getting, one of my wonderful teas, the Arizona teas, the Energy RX tea. I do drink those.
Don't fall for it, Rob. Don't fall for it.
I'll give them $1. And you know what? I said this goes to help Texas education, right?
This is my donation.
That's how they try to make.
Just tear the ticket up.
That's how they try to make you feel better about it, right? No, for me, I was thinking about this last night. Obviously, I would tithe. I'd give a percentage to the church, and I would set aside some in some sort of a trust fund, because you always hear about these lottery. I was thinking about this last night about how lottery people just lose their money.
And they do. There's documentaries on that.
I would set aside a good chunk of it and put it into accounts where it'd bear interest, so it'd make money for me.
Yeah.
The next thing that I would do is I would buy a ton of real estate, because I would want to have properties that could regenerate that wealth so I could get it back, but then also it would generate additional income for my family down the road. That's what I would do, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, let me step it up a notch. So you would invest it, you would give your money to the church, you buy real estate. What's one fun thing that you would do that, besides all that, what's one thing you would buy if you could afford it and if money wasn't an object? What's one thing you would buy, or what's one thing that you would do?
What I'd buy, I would buy my own island.
All right, there we go.
I would buy my own island. And then I would probably want to, this is, you're talking about Elon, I'd want to go into space.
Really?
I would want to
that's
go.
What I'm getting at.
I would want to go, and like William Shatner went into space.
Yeah, I heard about that.
The final frontier is now, it wasn't the final frontier. He went. How cool is that? I would love to go to space and walk on Mars, man. That would be. I would love to walk on Mars.
Now, I'm not saying I want to go to space, but because I don't like flying even, so I wouldn't like getting in.
I don't either, but I was like, whatever.
Rocket ship and throwing up all over you. That's what I would be doing. But I would want to go. I want to. I mean, the bar is low for me. I really want to take my family
to Georgetown
to see the site where they blast the rockets off from. No, to see Rob go up into space.
Thank you.
I would send you up there.
Yeah, thank you.
There it goes. Hello, Huntsville.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. Oh, that's funny.
No, I would want to take them somewhere, all of us together. My kids are in college now, and it's hard for us all to get together. I got one that's going to college next year, and she's a senior, and so and they're all going in different directions. But before they have families of their own, and time gets away from you so fast. Before all that happens, I'd really just like to have a family vacation where we just went away all together and just did something, not extravagant. We could just go to Colorado or somewhere, but just be able to. But it's so expensive to do anything there nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't hardly do it. It just costs so much, especially with a family size like mine. But that's what I would want to do, is to take them all and just be together for, before life takes over and, they get married and go off and they go. Noah will be a senior in college next year, and so it just time it just goes by so quick. It just gets away from me. But that's what I would want to do, and also those other things that you mentioned too. Of course, I would love to buy real estate too. I think that's one of the best investments that you can make because they're not making more land.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are a few things.
Do you have anything about the drones?
Oh, yes, I didn't put that on there, but that's a big.
I know you have other
story.
stuff, but can you maybe talk about that a little bit? Isn't that
all
crazy?
I know about is that over New Jersey, there's been seen these drones that have been flying over, and people have been reporting about them for a while.
Yeah,
now.
like a month or more.
and they've noticed them, and they're not residential drones like we have. They say they're about 6 foot across. So they are some sort of commercial drones, and they're what made people worried about them is there's some sort of military place around there that they saw them around. So I don't know. What can you find about them?
Yeah, there was one that there was like an Iranian mothership off the coast.
I
That they
heard
said
about
these things
that.
were,
I didn't know whether that was fake news or if that was
the
truth.
Pentagon has said that's not true.
Okay.
And I mean, you had a governor talking about that. So when you started having high elected officials, there's all these people saying it's kind of a. I don't want to say like it's exciting because it's not. I mean, this is a scary thing, but it's very interesting. I've been glued to this. Members of Congress have now started outbursting about this, saying what's going on. They're not getting answers. The FBI says they're looking into it, but there's been no definitive answers about what's going on. Some of these drones, they say, are the size of SUVs, which is unbelievable. One guy on TikTok had, now, of course, you don't know if it's legitimate or not. I would say it's probably not. But, he shines a laser at one, a green laser light, and the video looks really good. It's compelling now, but what can you trust on the internet now? He does that, and then there's like 20 of them that pop up around it.
Wow.
There are reportings that whenever people do try to initiate some sort of communication with these things, or that whenever they're trying to, like one guy flew another drone up, trying to fly one around him. As soon as he did that, all the lights on the other ones turned off. So I don't think it's a hobbyist. At first, I thought it was just someone playing a prank.
No, that's what they said. They did confirm that it was not a hobbyist.
I think it literally is a foreign country trying to spy on something because we've seen it with the weather balloons now with the quote-unquote weather balloons.
I heard about that too. That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, but I hope that it's not. Obviously, I hope it's some sort of covert American testing. Some sort of drone, because surely you would think that, with all the technology, satellites, all the security that we have, nationwide security, that the government wouldn't just allow some SUV-sized drone just to fly over major cities.
Yeah, but they did that with that balloon from
China. I know they did.
They let it go because they said they were scared that the fallout could hurt people. So they waited until it got over to the East Coast. Then they shot it down. They found all sorts of telecommunications equipment in that thing. 21 towns, the mayors of 21 towns in New Jersey have now called on the upper echelon of the political world to figure out what's going on and put a stop to it.
Crazy.
Very scary.
Crazy.
Anyways.
All right, last thing. This was, I always like to throw something in there just for discussion, a little list. The quote on this was, my kids had no idea what I was talking about. 23 experiences that were the normal decades ago, but are totally unrecognizable today. So, and I won't list all 23 of them, but I'm just going to mention some of them that when we were kids, and I think about this because, like I said, we spent the last couple of, one of the reasons I'm so tired is because now that the boys are home, their schedule is completely different than mine. So they're staying up late at night, and they're wanting to talk and do other things, and, they don't even start thinking about going to bed till about midnight. And so it's hard to go to sleep whenever they're all in there and everything that's going on. But we always talk about the way things are now and the way things used to be.
Hey, one second. Sam is here from Lee Barron.
All right.
And Sam is one of our newest members of our ethical Business Directory. He is from Lee Barron. Sam, walk around here real quick.
Come on.
Yeah, come say hello to us real quick. Sam, you didn't know this was going to happen?
We were waiting for a
Yeah,
guest.
Sam, good to see you. There he is right there, Sam, joining us today. So, well, thank you, Sam. It's always a good day. Here, throw that headset on real quick. You want to join in the conversation with us real quick? He didn't know this was going to happen. This is Jason Bay
awesome.
here with us
Jason,
from First.
how you doing?
Sam owns Lee Barron.
All right.
And Jason is having a discussion. Good to see you, Sam, by the way.
Thank you.
It's the first time you ever been on the show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, see what happens when you got a few minutes? Is that all right?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well,
perfect.
Jason
Sounds
is
good.
going over, what is it you're going over?
I'm going over things that were normal for us, but the kids today have no idea of. Okay, so the first one is, and think about these things. Feel free to jump in and comment on any of these things that you remember. Pre-streaming TV, no recording, no rewinding, and having to run to the bathroom during commercials because you couldn't pause it.
Okay.
Everybody nowadays, every show you want to watch, all you got to do is just push play, and it's all streamed right there. It's you can watch whatever you want. And now nobody watches anything on regular TV hardly anymore. Do you?
No.
All right.
Sam, what are you watching?
It's streaming. Netflix.
Yeah,
and everything else,
everything is streaming nowadays.
Okay.
And the second one, only being able to call long distance from a landline and having to wait until a certain time at night because the rates were cheaper. You remember the old long distance phone calls?
It was expensive, very expensive.
We had a lady, Sam, that would come. We would go knock on her door, and she'd always shut the blind. Because I told you this on the show one time. Yeah. We would sell greeting cards, and the lady would say, "I can't talk right now. I'm on long distance." That was her excuse. She would never talk to us because she was on long distance.
My grandmother had one of those party lines, where
yeah.
Did you remember?
It's where the neighbors would hop on. You had to be courteous.
A certain ring that was for you, and different rings that was common out in the rural areas. They would have several people on one line, and you had to listen for your ring to pick it up. And if you picked it up, somebody else might be on there talking.
Did you ever have these, Sam?
No.
No party line.
No.
That was nowadays. And that's the third one is not being in constant contact with people. Just playing outside or hanging out with friends and only calling your parents on a dial-up phone if it was an absolute emergency. Now kids all the time. And think about this. When you were growing up, things that you did, now you can check on your phone and see where your kids are.
Oh, yes.
Wherever they are all the time.
I can check and see where Sam is. He doesn't. No, I'm just kidding. He's here.
But think about that. I mean, parents nowadays know exactly where their kids are all the time. But when we went, I lived in Cypress growing up. I had a bike. I'd ride over to my friend's house. We'd be gone playing in the creek, during the day or whatever. And we didn't even think nothing about it. And now, if you don't know where your kids are, you're panicking.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how different things are. Not knowing stuff. Any conversation you have today can be Googled in seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
If you don't know something, you just didn't know it back in the day. Hitting up Blockbuster with your friends. You ever do this?
Well, wait. Going back to that other one. Did you ever play video games growing up? Sam, did you have an Atari?
Oh, Atari. Oh,
okay. Nintendo? Were you on the Nintendo?
No, Atari.
Just Atari. Okay.
He's old school.
Okay. I knew Sam was. I'm right. Hey, but I'm right there on the Atari. The 2600. We had to have a brick that we put on ours because it wouldn't work without the brick. There was some thing that came unsoldered, and we didn't know electronics in, but we knew if we put a cinder block on it, it would work. So we had a brick that we would sit on it. But those games, the cheat code was first invented in a game called Adventure. Do you remember Adventure? It was a little, you had this little dot, and you had to go find this key and unlock this door.
Yeah.
That was one of the really popular Atari games. So what you just said about if you didn't know something back then, you didn't know it. It's almost like nowadays Google's a cheat code.
It is.
Yeah,
and there's no excitement anymore. If you play a game and you put in a cheat code, you lose the challenge is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So now because of Google, and you lose the challenge, it's expanding your mind. But if you don't do proper research, you're losing there's no challenge anymore.
Yeah. And then you used to could go over to your uncle's house or your grandpa's house and listen to these far-fetched stories that they would tell you, and you had no way to check out if it was true or not. So when I try to do that with my kids, they're constantly fact-checking me right on the moment, going on their phone looking.
Son, you didn't know the great horse escape of 1920.
Wait a minute, Dad. Let me check. That's not true.
Your granddaddy found $1 billion worth of gold during that horse escape, and he lost it.
All right, what about this one? Hitting up Blockbuster with your friends, sleeping over, picking out a movie or game, picking up a couple of pizzas and sodas, and staying up all night playing multiplayer video games. You remember those days?
I didn't have any friends.
Going over to the Blockbuster, looking down the aisles, picking out the movie that you wanted or the game that you wanted to take home.
Yep.
I mean, those were the days. Kim and I talked about it when we were dating. That was a date night. Go to the Blockbuster, go down the aisles, you look at the little picture, you flip it around and see if that's the one you want, and then you go rent it and check it out and watch the movie.
And you remember the VHSs, you'd squeeze the plastic box and the tape would come out?
Yeah.
The way they designed. I hadn't had that thought in 20 years. And I remember going into Blockbuster and they'd have all the movies. Here's the big one that just came out.
Yeah, like 100 boxes.
100, and you'd get in there and every one would be empty. Do you remember this, Sam?
You go up there every Friday, and that's the movie you want, and it's not there.
Did we have movie rentals here in Huntsville?
We did.
What was here?
We had
Hastings.
Yeah. I think Showcase. And Miss Paula had a video store over here too.
Paula Armstrong?
Yeah.
She goes to church here. We're going to have to ask her about
that. She was an icon over here. and I think Blockbuster near my house, we hit over 1,300 movies.
Wow.
Over a period of time, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, Blockbuster used to be over there by where that AT&T store is in that area right there.
What is this off of? Wow, what a difference. Blockbuster Video.
Yeah, I mean, things go by so fast. What about Saturday morning cartoons?
Yeah, that was big.
Remember you get
Schoolhouse
up,
Rock.
You get up and early on Saturday to watch the cartoons. Now there's cartoons 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, wherever you want to watch them. And they don't even watch the cartoons because they want to watch the YouTube shorts.
It was weird. We'd go get a haircut at the City Barber Shop in Georgetown. And Mr. Weininger was there. Weininger was there. And no, it wasn't Weininger. Hold on. It was, man, I should know this. Mr. Whelan was there. Mr. Whelan cut our hair. I'll never forget these guys. There was Mr. Krause that was there. There was Manuel that was there. Manuel was there too, and he was styling and profiling. Old school barbershop. They had an old Zenith TV, and instead of the UHF, VHF knobs, you pre-program the TV with push buttons. You ever remember these?
Oh, yeah.
And you'd push and I remember going there on Saturday, and we'd watch cartoons while we were getting our hair cut.
Yeah. I remember those.
Oh, those were the good old days.
Those cartoons, yeah, they were the good old days. What about you being in radio? Did you like radio like when you were younger and stuff like that?
News radio, 1200.
Did you record stuff off of the radio?
Yes, I did on cassette tape.
Yeah, and try to make your own mixtape or whatever.
That's funny that you mentioned that because I did, and I would listen to WAI. There's a guy named Bill Schoening is a good friend of mine. He's a broadcaster for San Antonio Spurs, and once I knew Bill, I said I always wanted to meet Bob Guthrie. There was always that name in radio in your town or wherever you're from. And in San Antonio, for me, it was, this is Bob Guthrie, and here's the news on WOAI. Very distinct voice. It's like a Cooter to Huntsville, right? This was Bob Guthrie to San Antonio. And I used to record him, and I would try to emulate his voice because when I was a kid, I wanted to sound like Bob Guthrie. And then he passed away, and I never got to meet him, and I wish I could have. But this guy, Bob, had such a distinct voice. He joined the military, and at 20 years old, they said, how would you like to go into radio because of your voice? He went into radio and never looked back.
Wow.
A career that was like, man, I want to say 60 years at WOAI, 60 years at that station.
Well, you have the voice.
Yeah, you have a great voice.
Yeah, you should.
We enjoy it.
Yeah,
we enjoy.
We have to create. If you have something, create your own opportunity. That's what I've done. I've tried to do. It's like Sam with his store. He had an opportunity, created his opportunity.
That's awesome. Another thing, my kids always tell me is so stupid. Is cursive.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
You don't write in cursive?
The only thing good for cursive is your signature nowadays.
No one they don't teach it to kids anymore. They don't learn cursive. They all print now.
My daughter can't read cursive. I was so surprised. I gave her some papers to read, and she said, "What is this?" And I said, "It's just cursive. It's just basic."
Yeah, I know.
Do you write in cursive, Sam? Or?
I still do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. When I'm writing or something, that's just natural. But
I mean, my natural handwriting looks like cursive because it's so horrible, anyways. I could never get down the. You know what's weird now that you're talking about this? I think I've forgotten how to write some things in cursive. Like the Q is weird. It's like a number 2, right?
Chime
like
in if you'll help Rob learn cursive.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of teachers out there that are pounding their radio.
I hated cursive. Here's why I hated it, because I was left-handed.
Okay.
And they teach you as left-handed to write like this. I never could. I always wrote like this. And so I'd always get ink all over my hand.
I can see that. I can see how that would be frustrating.
So thank goodness that's gone.
Couple of other things. What about phone books, yellow pages? Remember the old yellow pages that you would use? And people would advertise big time in those books, and they would mail them out. In Houston, we would have those big, thick books. They would deliver them to your doors, and you would look in people's numbers, or you could look up businesses and stuff like that. Think about yellow pages now. I mean, I guess it's basically Yelp or something like that, or Google. Where you look at for businesses in the area, or restaurants or whatever that you're looking to.
I got a yellow page story for you. When I had my IT company, this guy shows up, salesman type guy, one that you just want to get out of there because he's so annoying. He's so pushy and so annoying. I'm just being honest. He was. I can say this about the guy because he became a friend. I told him, I said, look, man, I don't want any ads in a phone book. It doesn't work for me. I said, honestly, it's a joke. It's the biggest marketing scam of this century because nobody uses them anymore. And here I was thinking I knew everything, right? And I was telling him all this. He goes, well, look, you're telling me that people search, and this was before smartphones got really hot, honestly. No, not many people. We were still using flip phones when I had my IT company when I started it. This was 2012, no, it wasn't. This was 2006. So, 2012 things were going. This was 2006. This guy told me, he said, well, wait a minute. You're saying that people don't use the yellow page? I said, no, they don't use them. He goes, where do you think they're turning to when their computer's broken and their phone system or their phones are down? Touche. Yeah. So I said, well, it kind of makes sense, I guess, because he goes, that's what he said. He goes, where do you think people turn when their computers go down? They go to the yellow pages to search where to find. So this guy said, look, I took a flyer on him. He said, look, I'll provide a rollover number so we can track the metrics of your ad. He goes, if you can do $300 a month for a year, that was a big chunk of change for us back. It still is, but $3,600. He said $300 a month, 12-month agreement. He said, I guarantee you'll get some calls. I said, if you can guarantee it, then I'll do it. We became the #1 advertiser as far as responses from that phone book.
Oh, really?
With over 200 phone calls a month.
Golly.
And it was because Georgetown's a retirement community.
That's what I was going to say. You got your target audience.
And the retirees were calling 512-686, whatever that number was. And I could track it in real time. And I remember going through looking, and some days we'd get 20 to 25 calls off that phone book alone. It was the single best advertising investment that I'd ever made in my business. Nowadays, that wouldn't fly because smartphones are so much easier.
But you know what? At the chamber, the #1 request is phone books.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do ask for that.
Wow.
And then even your book. I mean, that's how I dropped by today. You have a great directory, which is like, it's pinpointed and everything else.
Even in the church, they want a directory, where the pictures and the people's names and numbers in there. You're exactly right. I still think that.
I found one from 2003.
Yeah, there we go.
You're right, though. I mean, I think people still like to have something in their hand to be able to look at. Being the first person or being the first to purchase your first PC. Now, today, when kids are born, they're just born into a house with a computer already. But do you remember the first PC that you ever bought?
I remember the first one that I regret that I threw away.
What did you get?
My aunt gave me her 1984 Mac 128.
Oh, my gosh.
Black and white.
Yeah.
All the books, the cassette tapes that you played for the tutorials, the printer. She left the bill in that thing when she bought it. She paid like $2,800 for that back in the 80s. That's a ton of money.
Well, I don't know if you remember the Commodore 64. That was my first little thing there.
Oh,
I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
I had the my dad bought me my first computer. It was the Tandy 2000 from Radio Shack.
Yep.
If you remember that. And with it came the disc for America Online. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You put it in the thing, and then that was the first time. I remember I was telling my kids the other day, I remember the first time I ever got on the internet. It was at my grandma's house. We had the computer there. And it was the old dial-up, through AOL. And my email address, my old email address is still AOL. So everybody makes fun of me when I tell them.
I'm still AOL, old school AOL.
There you go.
Jason Bay Horseman at AOL. That was your screen name on AOL.
No, I had one that they just gave me. You didn't pick out what you wanted.
It
just recommended ones based on your name, and so you just picked one that was recommended, and I still use it to this day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
do you still pay for AOL?
Here it is, by the way, right there.
There it is. Yeah, there's the disc. Do you pay for AOL still?
No.
So when I had my IT company, I was appalled to find out that AOL was still charging people $50 and $60 a month for the service because they'd been with it so long. And I would actually get people. AOL provided a free service back then after all this because it was ad-based. I said, I can knock your bill out completely if you just agree to have a little banner up on your screen. They said, absolutely. And so there were so many, and that's how we built a reputation in that community because we were always saving people money. Another example is nonprofits. I was finding out nonprofits in the community were spending thousands of dollars on software when there's a company called TechSoup that provides heavily discounted software legally to nonprofits. Microsoft donates software to TechSoup. TechSoup, in return for an admin fee, you can buy that software. There was companies that were paying $2,000, $3,000 for Windows Server licenses. I was going in, and it was other IT companies. They didn't know about it. And they were providing this to these nonprofits. So I'd go in and call the nonprofit, hey, are you using Windows Server? Yeah, we're using it. Do you remember what you paid? Yeah, $2,000 to so-and-so. I said, what if I can get it to you for $90? Done. So that's how we built our business, was on finding those discounts.
Dang, that's awesome. That's awesome. And just we were talking at the very beginning of the show about, how quickly things change, and you can either embrace the technology or reject it, but it's all how you use it. And I think that, a lot of these things are just joking, but with the change of technology is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But looking back, you just remember these things, and the kids are always giving me a hard time about. But I'll just
can I ask one quick thing to Sam here? Sam has Lee Barron. Sam, you guys have embraced technology like crazy. Y'all's website is better than big box stores.
We're trying.
Can you talk a little bit about and I know your children help with that, but talk a little bit about how you've just embraced technology at Lee Barron's in your business over the years.
Luckily, we have a lot of young kids who can do it for me and stuff. Right. But yes, it does help. It gets people to lead and come to the store, and my sons use it extensively. It helps and stuff. It lets some people know what the new tennis shoes are going to be, and for us, we're trying to promote weddings and things of that sort. So we put all different packages there so people can see it. Sometimes they get scared coming in, but this way they know ahead of time what they can expect, and it gives us a little bit of a heads up.
These guys got like 10,000 plus followers on Instagram, and they're on TikTok and everything. It's really cool.
So your kids help you with all that?
Oh, my son, he's the one that knows about this
puts
stuff.
It all
That's
there.
cool.
That is something else. There's a couple others, but one of them is, remember when you used to have to dial up the movie theater to see what was playing? You call the number, and then they would tell you.
I do remember calling them, asking them. It wasn't even automated. It was a lady.
Really, they used to have like a recording, and you call and listen to it and all that. But times have, and the last one is, remember when you used to physically pick up your paycheck and have to go to the bank and deposit it. Nowadays, everything's done digitally. There's hardly any money at all exchange. It's just, you can take a picture of your check and put it in. I'm so thankful for that because, man, that saved me so much time throughout the years having to go by the bank, and everything is so digital now. It's pretty amazing.
Technology keeps on changing, and it's tricky because you just have to adapt. When we first came to Huntsville, we had pagers, and it was great. Yeah. And we had a little bit over 1,000 people, And so that kind of was like a form of advertising. People knew who we were, and sometimes I still
Wait,
get people
you had a
talk
pager business?
We did pagers originally.
Really?
That's how because at
How
beginning
cool is it?
Suits wasn't that
Was it
popular.
Lee Baron pagers?
It was Lee Baron pagers.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
We had 800 numbers on it and all that Skype, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. We adapted to it because the business itself wasn't that strong, so that kept us on our foot for a while, and then we just kept on evolving and everything else with it.
That's the thing. That's what I think that, like we were talking about earlier with like Netflix and all these other companies, is you have to be willing to accept change and be willing to adapt and evolve what you're doing to fit the what's going on. I mean, that's amazing that y'all were able to do that.
You know, one of the things I'm nervous about. I know I heard you earlier this morning talk about AI and everything else. I'm nervous where that's going to take us in the future. Like, I mean, I went to Taco Bell the other day, and you know, as I was taking
By the way, the Mexamelt is back.
Yeah, so they
AI has brought it back, maybe.
maybe.
But what happened over there?
But no, I mean, my order was taken by AI representative. So the question is, where is everyone going to work if technology takes over?
And we've seen that in the automobile industry, you know, through all of that with robots and technology, how that's decreased. You're right. I mean, it's definitely changing the landscape of. Like, I'm sure the guy that's writing that you talked about earlier, the guy that you were talking about with journalism, he's fearful of the same thing. You know, when you can type something that says, write me an article on Bill Belichick coming to to UNC. Boom. I mean, and literally they can do it, I mean, better than a lot of than people can. You can understand how somebody would be fearful of technology when it's taking your job away.
It is. I mean, you know, we were doing our, we had the PWWA, which I'm going to talk to you about, Rob, the Wedding Association. We had to write articles for it. And I spent 2 hours writing the article, and it still wasn't good. So I gave it to a friend of mine, Vicki Noakes, and, you know, she's part of your membership also.
Yeah,
she does alterations. And I gave it to her, and I said, you know, please improve this. So I'm expecting she'll call me the next day or something. She called me 15 minutes later. She said, ChatGPT. And I said, oh, my gosh.
That's what I'm telling you. That's where it's at.
Well, just while y'all been talking, come and listen to a story about a man named Bay, a pastor down in Huntsville who leads us every day. He loves the Lord Jesus and spreads the good news with horses in his heart and kids in his view. Jesus, that is, Savior of the world. Well, the first thing you know, Jason's all around, preaching with a passion, spreading hope in the town. He said, love your neighbor and take the narrow way. Now, folks at First Baptist love Pastor Bay. Horses, that is, saddles and trails. See, I just wrote a song about Jason to the tune of the Beverly Hillbillies.
We've reached an all-time low.
Sorry, songwriter. I know you could have done it, but Rob created it.
Isn't that crazy? That's how it works, man.
Yeah.
It's using for good.
Yes.
Well, Sam, I'm so glad you dropped in. Sam just joined our ethical business directory over at Lee Barron's. Friends, if you need any type of footwear, you guys are, I mean, really the exclusive Nike dealer here in Huntsville. Give us a really quick, just kind of brief synopsis of what y'all do. I know this was unexpected, but when you show up, when you come into the studio, I always throw a headset on you. So let us know a little bit about what you do, Sam, briefly.
So we have two parts of the store. One is all tennis shoes. We try to keep the latest tennis shoes. And we've kept, in our views, it's been voted as one of the top 100 stores in the world for the boutique look and everything else. And we've been recognized for that. And Nike's actually given us better shoes than you would find at normal stores. So that's really cool. Now, that's where my son takes care of the store. On my side of the store, we do formal wear. We do fragrances and formal wear. And I know we have Elliot for jewelry, but just for basic stuff, I have basic jewelry. And but you know, we love to do for special events, the gala, our weddings. We can set it up, and we can get you in a suit cheaper than you can rent, and a lot cheaper than the XYZ stores out there. And we'd love to take care of you. And we can do all on-site alterations.
Well, I'll tell you what, with Christmas coming up, I know there's a lot of people looking for a Christmas gift, and I know one of the greatest gifts you can give, a boy or girl, either one, is some new shoes.
Yeah, of course.
And Sam, too, real briefly mentioned you guys moved a year or so ago. That new location over there seems like it's working out really well for you guys.
Yes. It's more exposure, a lot more. And we try to use our platform like you do to help out different organizations, different events. Like this Sunday, we have our big toy drive from 4 to 6. And last year we hit over 500 kids.
Wow.
And
I think that's why it's so important to support local businesses, because it's the local businesses that give back to the community. And when we overlook local businesses in favor of, online shopping or going to the big box stores, we lose that connection with individuals in our community.
And it's true. I love to say everything is great, but the economy is a little soft. And whether it's our business or any other business, all of us do appreciate when you support it. It does help a lot, more than you think. So we thank you for that.
Putting shoes on your family's feet helps his family, and that's what a small community is all about.
Yeah, love that. And that's what our message is, and the inspiration today, friends, is get out there and support these local businesses. We put a post the other day. Somebody had mentioned something about Bandera Grill, and, it's not that great. Well, it was 15 years ago they went. Things change, and I like what Ken Gobble said. He and his wife used to have Pinch and Plate. Tiffany is now the manager over there at Cafe Texan, who provides those gift cards to us, by the way, each month to give away. But Ken said, if you've been to a restaurant, and even if it's been 6 months ago and you got bad service, give them another try, because there's always a lot of change in staff and turnover in a restaurant. Every time I've went to Bandera Grill, I had a great experience. Sydney Grisham and I would go over there and eat once a month when I first came to Huntsville. And so Bandera Grill had posted in there, and it got a lot of traction. And I told Billy, I said, let's go do the Billy Cawthon restaurant report there on Friday. We went there. The food was great. Elsa was so wonderful. The whole
great people.
Good people. And, we posted that on Facebook, and that thing got over 300 reactions, and a ton of people said they went and tried it. And so little posts like that go a long way. And I'm going to say the same for Sam and Lee Barron. Support these local businesses.
Right.
Don't take them for granted, because they're doing great work. Sam is a man, and he won't like me saying this, but I will. Sam has a heart of gold, and he's here. He helps out everybody in this community. There was a lady who lost her power over at the senior villages about 6 months ago, and Lita had reached out to me, Miss Thompson, and said, is there anything you can do to help? And I started contacting a few folks, and before we know it, we had her bill paid plus some. That's the kind of person that Sam is. That's why we need to support these local businesses.
Yes.
Thank you. It really does help. Thank you so much. Yes.
Well, we're going to end it. Sam, hang out with us until the end. We're going to go ahead and call our winner today. We're giving away 4 Lone Star Lights at Carolina. You ever been?
Nice. No, I haven't. We were just talking about it last night.
I was going to ask you, ever had any Lone Star Lights? All right, here we go. Let's head over to the phone line here. 0 Degree Creations phone and text line. We got a winner. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, who is this?
Madison.
Listen up, Madison. This is old Billy Bob here from downtown Huntsville. How you doing?
Good. Me and Papa are watching your show in the hospital.
Well, listen up. Listen up, by golly. I got to tell you, we need some money for that new municipal building there. We got a bond on it, but we ran out of funds. Can you throw us a couple of hundred G's? Madison, hey, congratulations. Is this Chris's wife?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Well, how cool is that? Have you ever won on this show before, Madison?
I don't know. I don't remember.
That's Chris Brown, a Jump Around Moonwalks. It's his
Oh,
wife.
yeah.
And Madison, congratulations. 4 tickets to Lone Star Lights. How does that sound?
It sounds great. We'll need it.
Well, wonderful. I know you guys are doing such good in the community, and I just heard you're there. I know with your grandpa and your grandmother right now. I know she's in surgery, and we're praying for her. So,
thank you.
Well, awesome. We'll let you go. I will ask you this: what are you most thankful for today, Madison?
I'm gonna go ahead and say my grandma.
Amen to that. Well, hey, we love you and your family. Y'all are just exceptional folks, and I'll text you information on how to get those. There are electronic codes that I'll send to you. So how about that?
Alrighty, thank you so much.
All right, Madison, have a blessed day, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
I was sitting there, Jason, looking. I said, wait a minute. Whenever the randomizer picked her, I said, that's the Saucier's granddaughter. How cool is that?
We started off the show talking about that.
Yeah. Well, hey, that'll wrap it up. Jason, anything else? It's been a fun morning.
It's a good time to come to church this Sunday. We're having a great big children's program. It should be interesting if nothing else. Trying to run a children's program is kind of like herding cats, and so it should be a great deal of entertainment value supplied as we retell the story of the birth of Jesus. So come and be a part. 10:45 this Sunday. Our Christmas program will be done by the children, so we hope to have a lot of families here to witness that and be a part of that. And our Christmas Eve candlelight service at 6 o'clock on Christmas Eve is always very well attended. It's a simple service. We simply retell the story of the birth of Jesus, sing some old Christmas carols, and light the candles. It's usually about 30 minutes, but it's a great time to bring your family out on that Christmas Eve just to remind everybody what Christmas is all about.
Yeah, it's lovely. Come on out and be a part of it. We'd love to have you. Friends, we love you in this community. So glad that Sam came by.
Yeah,
so
thank
wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Thanks for hanging. I know you're a busy man, but like I said, and that's just a kind of a warning to any of you. If you walk through this door, headset's going on most of the time. So, but we appreciate it. Look for Sam's listing in our ethical business directory online at hellohuntsvilletx.com. And we so appreciate him and all that he does in the community. Also appreciate Jason here at First Baptist. Come join us at the Harbor Hope. We'd love to see you. As I wrap up every show, reminding you this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We're really not. So please provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Reminder tonight, 7 p.m., the Lions Club putting on the Christmas parade. Can't wait to get more candy. We still got a lot left over from Halloween. I love going because a ton of candy comes in. And as a parent of young children, Mommy and Daddy get a good chunk of the candy, too.
Remember what we talked about at the beginning?
You have to screen it,
Mind, body, spirit.
Yeah,
BMI.
I'm mindful of the candy. I'm mindful of what it does to me. It does affect my body poorly, and it's a spirit of Thanksgiving when people provide the candy.
That's right.
So mind what it's
there we go.
All right, we'll see you next time. Until then, good morning and God bless Huntsville.
All right.
We'll see you. See you, Sam and Jason.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you.